brain to get in the way. Keep your head still. Also remember, when the head is still, visual acuity is 5 times greater than when the head is moving. That's why Chris Everett's uncle said he's never seen a great player who could hit a good shot with the head moving. The best players, the best athletes, football, baseball, tennis, always achieve better performances when they have a still head. Having trouble with your service toss? I'll bet you may have this problem. I'll bet you're throwing the ball really high in the air rather than really low. If you throw the ball really high, the ball could go all over the joint. You're going to have all kinds of problems. But if you throw the low toss, you only have to throw it about 20 inches out of your hand, and the chances are you're going to have a much more accurate service toss. People say, yeah, man, but how can I do that? I got to throw the ball up in the air, I got to go all the way back, scratch the back, turn the body, all that kind of stuff. There's not sufficient time. But here's the secret. When you have the problem of the lousy toss and the ball's too high, simply make this left hand follow the right hand. It's this kind of look. Now you see you don't have to rush this because this has gone nowhere. But when you look like the trophy, you have to throw the ball up and you have to calculate gravity. Think about it this way. If you throw the ball up 2 full seconds ahead of this swing, you'll have to throw the ball almost 48 feet in the air, which means people typing in a high office building should be able to see your toss. But when this hand follows this hand, nothing has to be rushed. Watch, I'll only throw the ball 20 inches out of my hand. And look how much time I have. It is really fun, and it's rhythmical. Think about it. A low toss, you could hit the ball here, 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 here at the peak, and now on the way back down, and you're still in an acceptable hitting zone. But when the ball is thrown high, it's dropping through at the rate of gravity. So that's why it's so difficult to throw a high ball and hit it in the same place. But you know, Kevin Curran aced Jimmy Connors one year at Wimbledon over 30 times, and he only throws the ball to the peak of the reach. Roscoe Tanner, 140-mile-an-hour serve, famous for the big bomb. He throws the ball only the peak of his reach. Remember, a low toss will give you up to 10 times more hitting time if the two hands go up together. And a good trick for you is to put a ball in the right hand, let that serve as the serving hand, and the ball in your left hand. Make the two balls follow each other. And don't release the left hand early. Bring them up together, continue up, and you will see that if you take that system and hit the ball with the second ball, you won't even have to rush it if you have an 8-inch toss. It is a great drill. It'll help you with rhythm, and it'll help you learn to release the ball on a little arc. And again, up to 10 times more hitting time, like Roscoe Tanner. Having problems getting power on your serve? You might think about this. Most people think power comes from having a real strong wrist snap. But that's not it. Power really comes from a forearm snap. So you need a loose elbow to go with a loose wrist. We took some of the top players in the world, calculated 100 serves, and we found almost no wrist movement just before impacting the ball. It all comes back in here, more wrist at this point, but up at the top, it's forearm twisting. As a matter of fact, the hand never makes this movement. The hand makes this movement. It pronates. Well, you've got to have a loose elbow. So we see people come back to serve, the elbow gets tight, and they swing this way. And they think it's in the wrist. But you see, if the arm is stiff and you try to snap the wrist, you can't get power. As a matter of fact, most people who try wrist hit themselves in the thigh. Now, can you feel a loose elbow? Well, the problem on the serve is sometimes when you go back here, the racket gets out of your peripheral vision. And when it gets out of your vision, you can't see what's going on. So people swing like this, and we'll say, man, take a look. Didn't you see your elbow was tight? Didn't you feel it? And they go, look, I'm just happy to be alive. Well, I'm telling you right now, you've got to think spaghetti. So when you get ready to serve, look at some of those top players. They may get like this at first, but then they start to loosen up. You want a loose elbow, a loose arm, so that when you stop the body, the arm can snap. So watch this one. Very relaxed, loose arm, loose forearm, loose hand. Look at that power system. It all comes from being loose. So don't think about the wrist, think about the forearm. Go spaghetti. If you're having trouble getting power on your serve, here's another tip that just may solve that particular problem. It may not be in the racket hand, it may be in the throwing hand. If you take a look at the top players when they serve, the throwing hand goes up and it comes right back into the body. Gee, that's a strange look, you say. Well, I learned to come down the left side of my body and do this kind of thing. But the top players finish there, but it moves so quickly that sometimes you don't see what happens just before the ball is impacted. The next time you see a slow motion replay, take a look at this. And you'll see the hand come against the body, it momentarily breaks the shoulder and turns the forearm into a whip, and it gives you this look. And you can hit it really hard. So don't let the left hand come in this way, don't let the shoulder fall down. Make sure that you turn, break the body, snap the ball, and then fall in. And you're going to get so much power, it's scary. But again, the secret may be not in this hand, the secret is in this one. Make the break. Baseball pitchers do exactly the same thing. They throw the ball, the left hand comes in like this to the body. Watch. So take a tip from the Major League Baseball pitchers. Break the shoulder with the non-hitting hand. Most people like to slug the first serve as hard as they can hit it. You know why? They remember the one that went in 1938 and aced the guy. But they haven't aced anybody else since that date. And the second one, if they don't ace them, always comes over a little helium ball. I say that most people lose on the serve because they have a lousy serve. You're better off to have two medium-pace serves than you are to have one bomb and one balloon. So why don't you try this? Think about two medium-pace serves, try to get to rhythm, try to work on your serve so that they're both a little similar, and think of it this way. Can you get good enough with two serves to get one in out of two? That's a 50% average, and I'll bet you can. I'd much rather see a medium-pace serve than that, or this. Why not two of these? That's better than nothing. You know, so often people think that the serve is a very different type stroke. But watch carefully. And then I sneak in a serve. But notice that the serve looks almost like the initial approach to a forehand. That's the type motion you want. But what do most people think the image is? They say, well, you start with the ball and racket in front, you go down together, up together, scratch the back and swing. But that's not the way it is at all. Now the serve is very similar to a ball throw. But most people who have trouble on the serve also have trouble throwing a ball. So let's go through it. When you're going to throw a ball, you come back, the hand is down, the palm is down. That's very important because when you throw a ball, the hand must pass between the elbow and the head. When you're going to serve, you want to have the palm down on the serve because the racket must pass between the hand and the head. So now when you get ready, it does this. But if you come back and turn the palm up, you eliminate the loop behind your back because it's impossible to pass the racket between the hand and the head. So put the palm down when you go to swing. On the grip on the serve, we'll hold the palm on side number 2, the continental grip. It'll look like this. Notice how you throw a ball. When you come back to throw, the hand is down. But notice what happens to the second hand. That's the key. When you come back, the second hand follows the first hand. When you come back in this manner, both palms are down. But watch when I throw. Don't watch this one. Watch the second hand, or the one with the glove on it in baseball. Did you notice how this hand comes against the body? That's extremely important when you learn to serve. The function of this hand is to stop the shoulder and transfer the energy out to the forearm. That makes it whip. It gives you boom. Now watch what happens when you serve. The same thing will take place. All good servers, without exception, the left hand does not come down the left side of the body. Just as they hit, the left hand crosses in front of the body, stops the shoulder momentarily, transfers the energy out to the forearm, and makes the racket snap. That's the power system. Deceleration, acceleration. Where do you throw the toss, and how high do you throw the toss? Well, remember, the hand comes up like this, follows this hand, and you'll see a little arc. It'll go like this. That will give you a rhythm, but most people think you throw the ball straight up and down right out in front of you, but it actually looks like the baseball glove when you throw the ball. If you throw the ball approximately 17 to 20 inches out of your outstretched hand, that'll be about the height out of your hand that the racket will be hitting the ball at the peak of the reach. Now here's the secret. When both arms come up together like this, you do not have to rush the racket because the ball has gone nowhere. So watch how much time I have to hit a ball even though there's a low toss. You don't have to rush anything. As a matter of fact, most people think a low toss will give you less time to make the hit. Wrong. If the two hands go together, now you'll have almost 10 times longer to hit a ball because you can hit it just before the peak, at the peak of the toss, and just below. But if you throw the ball high, it drops through the hitting zone. Watch what happens if you have the typical trophy look. The left hand goes up first. The racket is down. But now you must calculate gravity. And when this left hand goes up in the air, if it reaches the peak, for example, 2 full seconds before this racket swings, you must throw the ball about 48 feet in the air. That means someone on the 4th floor should see you tossed. So don't give us the trophy look. Bring both hands together like you're going to throw the ball. Now you get a nice, easy rhythm, and you get more time to swing. Where do you throw the ball on the serve, and how do you hold the ball? Well, you can hold it any way you want to. Most people hold the ball with the palm up. Some hold it with the side up. And many of the top players hold it palm down. Now, when you throw the ball, it should be to the right of your head. The reason for that is when you unwind your shoulders, it throws the racket out to the right, whether you like it or not. If you throw the ball straight out in front, you now turn, the ball's not here, it's out there. So here's what it looks like. Now you lose all of the power. The minute your racket begins to make an angular change, you lose all the power. So throw it out to the right. Now watch again. I'll throw the ball to the right. Keep your head up, but the power system is out here. If you draw a line from this shoulder to this shoulder, that's where the power is here. It's not here. Watch. You know, one of the most common terms used on the serve is scratch your back. I say if you don't use that term properly and don't think about it properly, it can kill your serve. For example, when you come back arm in hand, you now start to set up a rhythm, and they go this way. Now, when the racket is parallel to the ground, you begin to unwind the body. And just as on the forehand, the knees always arrive at the destination first. So it goes knees, hips, upper body, upper arm, forearm, and hand. 6 segments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The chain of power always comes right up from the knees and hips and finishes up with the racket. All right? Now watch what happens when you try to scratch the back. Instead of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, people go, scratch that back and make that turn. Now, why do they pause like that? Because when you start to turn your body when the racket's parallel to the ground, you can scratch your back because you have so much force with this body that it throws the racket away from your body. It won't let you scratch the back. So what do people do? They accommodate the swing by stopping the body, scratching the back, and then turn. So instead of getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they get... And then they look funny. Now what about people who throw funny? They do the same thing. Instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they go... That's the problem. Unwind. You can always tell people who only hit straight out in front of them and snap the hand, because if you watch, they always hit their legs. But you know something we forget is that when the racket comes back and you begin to uncoil your body, the racket goes way over to the right. It doesn't go down, up, up. It goes down, up, down, across to the right, and then the racket sits on the edge like this. It's a very difficult position to imagine. But then people say, well, how do you hit it? You don't hit it like this. Well, what happens is your racket begins to turn not with the wrist, but with the forearm. Boom, 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 hit. After you hit the ball, the racket actually continues off to the right because you've created so much force turning it out that you can't stop it. And that's why you get the funny look. And then it comes down the left side of the body. So it's really a loose forearm, not a wrist snap. And you don't hit it with a serve like this. You actually make that forearm unwind. So leave a loose elbow on the serve so the forearm is loose. As a matter of fact, with most of the top players in the game, we found there was no wrist movement or hand movement before the ball was even impacted. So think loose elbow and loose wrist. Don't just think wrist. A very important point on the serve is to keep your head up. When your head stays up, it standardizes the swing. But so many people are all set to hit, they look out, their body falls. Now you have a force going this way, a force going that way, and you get the resultant, which means the ball probably will go into the net. That's the average. So watch when I hit. Keep the chin up. Don't let the chin fall. And you do that by not playing into the box. You do that by keeping your eye glued on the ball. Wait until you see the forearm pass your eyes, then look out. And boy, that'll help stop the shoulder, transfer the energy into the forearm, and give you a big snap. All great players must learn how to control spin on the serve. Now, when you're serving and you turn around into the ball and you hit the ball squarely on the backside, that's a flat serve, squarely on the back. And remember, you cannot hit down. The racket will probably be vertical at the impact point on nearly every flat serve. We did the famous basketball player Artis Gilmore, 7'2". He was too short to really hit down on the ball. Watch the flat serve in slow motion. The topspin serve is very important to learn because you can hit the ball hard, form the arc, just as you do on the forehand and backhand, and make the ball go over the net and down. How do you achieve topspin? Remember what we said, only one way. The racket must be vertical, going low to high. Same on the serve. The racket's vertical, going low to high. So on the topspin toss, can you throw the ball at the peak of your reach? Nope. You actually have to throw it lower. So now you go up this way. Topspin toss is actually lower and slightly a little bit more to the left. The slice serve puts sideways spin on the ball, and it can curve away from an opponent. Very important to know how to hit a slice so you can move your opponent way out of court. When you come up to hit the ball, rather than hitting flat behind the backside, you have the racket slightly tilted, going left to right. That produces the side spin, produces the curve, the same as a baseball pitcher pitches when they want to make the ball go away from the player. Watch a slice serve or a side spin serve in slow motion. The foot position on the serve is pretty simple. Usually the front foot will point out towards the net post, the back foot is parallel to the baseline. When you get ready to unwind, this foot comes up and across. You want one foot to be in contact with the ground all the time, the front foot, because when this foot is in contact with the ground and the shoulder stops, you can make the forearm snap. But if you jump off the ground before your forearm has achieved maximum speed, you lose power on the serve. So plant the foot, turn into the ball, make the hit. McEnroe stands like this sometimes, but if you watch him very carefully the next time, you'll see that this foot comes right back up, stops here, snaps. It is not a weird look like this. He brings it up, turns, and he has exactly the same position as anyone else. He starts like this because as a kid he had a bad back and he learned to get out of it. Now everybody is doing it, developing bad backs.